how can we bring in the youth on these positions so that they can also represent themselves, they can air out the issues that they have, and make a plan to their future as they are, in as much as yes, they are youths in the country.
Now we need a full realization and implementation of the chapters that I've talked to you about in the Constitution. Right. Now a very good avenue for youth participation and realization of the full potential of the youth is what we call devolution. Now I want to give you two examples of places or counties in Kenya where the youth have enjoyed their rights as established in the Constitution. The first county is Uasin, Gishu. Tonight, as we speak, 51 students have been selected by the county government of Uasin, Gishu to go and take diploma courses in Finland. Right. Now, that is a very good example where the youth can realize their potential. You see, most employers have always been arguing that we have a mismatch in terms of skills, that whatever universities are churning out as graduates don't really respond to the needs of the employer. Right. Now, how do we help it? We have created TVET colleges, we have created polytechnics, but then after somebody has gone to those polytechnics, do they get jobs? No, they don't. Now, come to Makueni County. Makueni, they have something called Makueni Youth Policy of 2019. Right. Now, that policy, beneath it, we have something called the Makueni Youth Empowerment Service. They call it MES. Under that empowerment service, the governor engages the youth directly. They sit down the way we have sat tonight, they discuss, they get to know what is the problem facing the youth, and then they get addressed. Now, even if you look at the architecture of the governance in Makueni, we have a lot of youths sitting as CCs in the cabinet of the governor. So that is how we can realize this. Number two, the government has been championing the Big Four agenda. Now, let's just talk about affordable housing. Affordable housing. Majority of youth have been to this thing called Mjengo. Tell me, in a single building, how many youth do you always have there? And if a government were to enroll a massive housing project, how many youth will be employed? We shall have solved that problem maybe by half.
Now, you see, Shadrach, youth unemployment, is a global menace that is faced in developing countries and many other parts of the world. How can we, as Kenyans, we are headed to this period where decision making is going to be made and new policies are going to be, brought to place. How can we, as Kenyans, headed to elections, find a leeway to this problem?
The first thing is, the youth, they make a majority of the young people, they need to be guided.
Yes.
So the first responsibility is on the state, the government. The government must provide that avenue for the youth to have their views aired, for the youth to participate effectively, not just participating, it must be effective participation. In that ambit, we have also something called political parties. Political parties must also ensure that they fund and sponsor youth so that the youth can get what is called effective representation. Although our constitution provides that we should have nominated 2 youth in the county assembly, in the national assembly, and in the Senate, when we look at them today, we don't see any face of the youth. So the state has a responsibility. Number 2, we have stakeholders. We have NGOs, we have CBOs, we have private sector. They should also have a responsibility in ensuring that the youth have their voices heard. Then the last point is on the youth themselves. It is said that power is grabbed, it is not given. They must forcefully take their rightful position. And in that forceful taking of power, they should use legitimate means. How do they use legitimate means? Mm-hmm. The youth should be systematic in only voting for fellow youth. For instance, we have these things called chamas, even for the youth. It is the youth that lead these organizations, and they have been doing so well. So why can't the youth themselves appoint among them people that can represent them in higher decision-making platforms?
Now, Shadrach, 2022 general elections are looming, and we've seen leaders campaigning. They are really yearning to win the hearts of the youths. Now, how can youths come into place? How can they really evaluate what these politicians are saying? How can they evaluate their, manifesto to find that this now is the right candidate for us? This is now who we should be standing behind.
The first point is that we don't have manifesto politics in Kenya.
Yes, unfortunately.
The Kenyan politics is tribal and it is very local. So anybody talking about manifesto, first of all, might not even win election, and secondly, might not be so popular. So that is the first unfortunate issue. The second issue is that today, over 3,000 students are supposed to report to university without help.
Yes.
And you remember 2 to 3 days ago, MPs refused to pass a bill that was supposed to ensure that help was released to students. So the first question people should be asking these legislators that are coming to them is, what have you done in the last 5 years to champion the youth agenda?
Right.
Unfortunately, they might not even have that answer.
But maybe to cut you short on that, Wakili, we're saying we should be asking them what have they done to Kenyans to deserve their votes.
Yes.
Now, you see, this is it in a way, could it this in a way locking out people who have never served in the government? Because what will we be asking them? They've never served in the government.
Yes.
Now, how will we evaluate them? How will we, try to give them a chance if they have not served in any capacity?
Yes. The first question was on politicians trying to woo the youth. Now, anybody who has never served, there are a lot of other avenues that you can show service. We must see your fruits. Yes, for instance, I've seen a lot of aspiring candidates having foundations. Yes, some leading in street cleaning and environmental consciousness, some leading in championing education. Now, we should ask, what have you done? We should not just give you leadership on a silver platter.
But on asking this, what have you done? You find someone who has been in government has done something which is relatively, if you compare to someone who is coming fresh into the game, has done something little. So how do you gauge the two? How do you validate that this guy has done much and deserves to be voted in, and this guy has done a little but still deserves to be voted in? So how do you vet that?
The thing is, Kenyans are very intelligent. They will know that somebody was given all the leeway, was given all the opportunity to do something, and they did so little. So that one does not deserve a chance.
Right.
Yes.
Now, you mentioned at a point that Kenyans don't vote based on manifestos.
Yes.
Kenyans vote on the tribal, the ethnic affiliations. And I think it's time that, because a lot has happened, time has really changed, and among this change, we should be getting away from voting based on these, ethnic affiliations. How